Well, let's turn now to a horrific chain of events in California over the last few days. Several incidents involving police officers taking extreme measures, using violence to try to control nonviolent people. Let's begin with Anaheim, California. Police on Saturday approached a few men in an alleyway there, and when those men started running, one of them was shot dead by police, though he was unarmed and really posing no danger to anyone. Then, as the hours passed and the neighbors began to protest and demand answers from police, police responded violently once again. Take a look at this.
They just released the dog and I had my baby and my
You see here a bunch of upset residents here. Police were using rubber bullets. They let go of one of the dogs. You can see it attacked this man who was just standing by here. It also ran at this woman who you saw. She was holding her baby. Witnesses are visibly upset. They're angry, and frankly, many of them say they were scared for their lives. I want to talk more about this with Scott Shackford, editor for Reason.com. Hey, Scott, I know several Reason journalists were tweeting about this and writing about this over the weekend. What was your reaction?
I was a bit surprised, not completely surprised. I had kind of felt that police were getting better at dealing with this, but this looks a lot like another step back. But it'll take some time before we get all the information. But it does seem that our LA area police and our Orange County police still seem to have some difficulties with managing large groups of people who are not doing what they want them to do, but aren't being violent.
Let's broaden it a little bit, not just to the LA, Orange County, Southern California area. Let's play some video, something that happened just a few days before on Thursday in San Francisco. We have video here. What happened here, apparently, a man was accused of using a box cutter to try to stab his coworkers at a factory, so police show up. And at least according to witnesses, they handcuffed him, and then after he's cuffed, shoot him to death. Now, we haven't been able to confirm all of these details, but part of the problem here is that very few people are even talking about this. So, Scott, this happened, before the shooting massacre in Aurora, Colorado, and yet got almost no media attention at all. Why do you think that is?
It depends on how much the public is able to capture police behavior. And we've shown that this is extremely important in creating reform about how police deal with problems. Is it captured on film? In this case in Anaheim, we're going to see a lot of discussion about what happened simply because citizens there captured the police behavior. And that is becoming more and more common across the country, and it's become a vital tool in keeping police behavior in check.
I think that's a really, really good point. Again, just not to hammer California so much, but it's no stranger to police brutality. And we did want to put together some clips of incidents actually captured on camera. First of all, we're going to show you Scott Olson. You may remember he was critically injured during an Occupy Wall Street protest in Oakland. After that, video of a BART police officer fatally shooting Oscar Grant, also in Oakland. And finally, Kelly Thomas, a 37-year-old homeless man, beaten to death by officers in Santa Ana. We want to show this to you and our viewers.
What happened? What happened? You got hit. Shot. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Okay, here, dude. Here, just come. Please, hey, come on. Please don't, dude. Please.
So again, Scott, I mean, you say that this has changed things because it was caught on camera. Some of these incidents prompted mass protests, and yet this is still happening. Why do you think that is?
There's resistance. It is something that takes a lot of time, and the other thing is that we know it's happening more frequently. It's not so much that we don't know whether or not it's increasing or decreasing. We're more aware when it goes on because of these citizen videos and because these are coming forward. We are more likely to know when police engage in this behavior, and we as a community are able to respond and force the police department to investigate this behavior. And hopefully in the future, and it's a long change for this, we will see police officers responding more carefully.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is one of the things that people, come out in mass to protest is not the incident itself, but a lot of times, as we saw in the case of Oscar Grant, I believe the officer's name was Johannes Meserly, given very little punishment. We saw this with Rodney King.
Yes.
These officers are not being held accountable. How does that change? I mean, we now have cell phone cameras. We now have surveillance cameras everywhere. I mean, do you see this changing, or are these officers just so powerful that they're just always going to be let off the hook?
Well, one of the big challenges are the police unions who do a lot of work protecting police officers from reprimands and punishment for small behavior or various types of misbehavior that goes up the line and creates an effect in the police department where they really do feel as though they're immune to punishment. So it's going to take a lot of work on the community's part and on jury's part. The community needs to not just excuse police misbehavior, which happens a lot with the case that happened over the weekend. There are people apologizing for the police behavior without knowing the entire situation at this point. We don't know why they shot the guy in Anaheim. Yet there are people already forgiving the police department or apologizing for the police department. There are people already indicting the police department. So people have to, first of all, be willing to look at the police department as though they're people like the rest of us who have the right to shoot others.
Well, I think on one hand that's a good point to make, but when you see these pictures, Scott, it's very hard not to indict the police officer when you see them releasing, whether on purpose or accident, their canine dogs, which can be very dangerous. And we also have residents there saying these officers knocked at my door and tried to purchase my cell phone video so that no one else can see it. This happened several times. Several different neighbors there saying that police tried to, buy their video so that it wouldn't be shown. Can you understand why a lot of neighbors are angry at the police department?
Absolutely, absolutely. There is a lot of response from the police department dealing with video that's completely inappropriate. There are some who are just resisting the idea that they're now going to be videotaped at all times, at the same time as they want to increase their ability to monitor what their own citizens are doing. So you're going to see less and less trust unless the police accept this, accept that the community is watching what they're doing. And so this resistance, the more the police resist, the more the community is going to resist.
I think it's some good points you make, too, about, some of these neighbors, some of the community members holding officers accountable, juries holding officers accountable. I guess, why is it that your organization, Reason.com, I mean, so many, as I mentioned earlier, journalists were really into this story. What is it you think that really sort of resonated with them? Like I said before, that the video was available. And it's amazing how interesting that video also helps the media keep itself accountable. Over the weekend, the LA Times did an initial story about the Anaheim shooting that was very kind of superficial and kind of one-sided towards the police. Then that video came out that showed a little bit more, and we saw today the LA Times has a little bit more of a thorough story about it. So that video helps our local media even become more accountable to what has actually happened. And the more the public provides these videos to the media, right, the easier it is for us to show all sides of this. Absolutely, I totally agree. Appreciate having you on the show, Scott Shackford, editor at Reason.com.